Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dugout Daily. I'm Charlie and I'm joined by Bernard again. How are you, mate?
I'm absolutely fine, mate. Keeping a bit warmer today. With the old heating's had to come on for an hour or two, so just trying to keep warm.
Yeah. It's always a struggle at this time of
You
year.
young lads are all right. Us olders, our blood's very thin when we get to my age. We have to keep all wrapped up. I've got about 3 blankets on underneath the camera. You can't see.
You've got to do what you got to do. We'll go through Saturday's game then. It was a 3-1 win away at Watford. Raheem Sterling started the scoring early in the 3rd minute of the game. A Bernardo Silva brace with a Cuco Hernandez goal for Watford. What was your thoughts on the game on Saturday, Bernard?
Yeah, we're quite happy at the end of it. It was obviously fairly comfortable the first half, and obviously once we went 3-0 up, but. Yeah, it was what it is. I didn't think Watford would cause much problems, or I was hoping Watford would cause much problems. I mean, they're not 17th in the league because they're a great team, but I was quite happy with that. We'll take that. I mean, obviously Chelsea struggled to beat them a few days previously, of course, and we sort of, when you compare it to that, I mean, we sort of pretty much dominated, which Chelsea couldn't do, which is probably a good sign.
Yeah, definitely. So our team looked like this on Saturday. We will be looking at the Leipzig team halfway through the stream as well, because that will be coming out in around between 15 and 30 minutes time. So our team on Saturday was Edison in goal, a back four of Walker, Diaz, Laporte, and Cancelo, with Roderick, Gundogan, and Bernardo in midfield. Sterling was on the right, Foden was on the left, with Jack Grealish in the false nine. What was your immediate thoughts on the team, Bernard?
Yeah, well, I think the last game we talked about, it was the bench that was the most important, wasn't it? And the bench looked a bit dodgy last time, but now look at that bench. It's back. It's back to where we've got a few 100 million on the bench, isn't it? It's back to that
Yeah.
sort of level. So I was pretty happy to see all the niggles had cleared up and all the guys were fine. So yeah, based that team, I got about 9 of that. No, I didn't. No, I got about 7 because I thought he had about 4 players injured, so I only got about 7 right. But that's because Pep had obviously convinced me that these guys weren't going to come back from injury. But that team and then the bench. Yeah, I was pretty happy with that, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And then Watford's team, Claudio Ranieri made one change from Wednesday night's defeat against Chelsea. Danny Rose came into the team replacing Adam Messina. William Troost-Ekong, Craig Cathcart, and Kiko Femenia line up alongside the left back in defence, with Daniel Batman in goal. Imran Loser, Tom Cleverley, and Musa Sissoko were in the midfield, with Watford's player of the month for November, Emmanuel Dennis, up top with Josh King and João Pedro. What was your thoughts on the Watford team when you saw that, Bernard?
Yeah, I got 9 of the Watford team when I was looking at it, but they do rely on the break, and obviously we've seen they can score goals, they can score late goals, so it didn't surprise me. I was a bit, obviously, when they beat teams like, I think they beat Everton and Frost United and Everton, haven't they? But to be honest with you, when they play half decent teams, they've struggled a little bit, so I wasn't too worried. There's no big surprises in that team.
Yeah, no, definitely not. So we'll start with the stats. 23% possession for Watford compared to our 77%. 11 shots to 26. 4 shots on target to 13. Six shots off target to 8. 1 block shot to 5. 5 corners to 11. No offsides to 1. 11 fouls to 7. 3 yellow cards to none. 1 big chance to 5. No big chances missed to 4. Hit the woodwork once compared to our 2 times. No counter-attacks to 2. No counter-attack shots to 2. 6 shots inside the box to our 22. 5 shots outside the box to our 4. 9 saves for Daniel Batman, only 3 for Edison. 239 passes to 830. 66% accurate passes for Watford, 92% for us. 40% accurate long balls to our 66%, and 29% accurate crosses to our 24%. 31% of Watford's dribbles were completed to our 40%. Watford lost the ball 124 times to our 121. 37 duels won to 46. 11 aerial duels won to 12. 15 tackles each. 11 interceptions to 13. And 19 clearances to 7. Do you think that represents the game well, Bernard?
Yeah, I think it sort of flatters them a little bit, to be honest with you. Certainly, all those. I think there's more there than I would have initially thought. I mean, you looked at that. I think the first half stats of possession was 81% for City, so obviously they had a little bit more in the second half. But yeah, I mean, based on that, you think they did okay. They did all right. Certainly better than some teams against us, but it was never really in the crucial areas. I don't think a lot of their stuff. And I think the one they hit the post was the one they scored from anyway. Wasn't it? I'd imagine that's the same one they hit the post. Yeah. It went back to Hernandez or whatever he's called to put it in the net. But yeah, I think it wasn't. It was perhaps a little bit more one-sided than those stats are showing.
Yeah. And then the attack momentum graph, just a couple of periods for Watford. Domination really for City, weren't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like obviously that first 15 minutes I think we had 6 attempts, 5 on target. So I think Batman did okay. I thought Batman played fine, but I mean, look at that first half. I mean, there's absolutely nothing from Watford. You do expect it in a Premier League team, no matter where they are, to have part of the game, but obviously they were restricted, weren't they, to obviously around the goal, and that was about it. When obviously once you score, they perhaps have a little goal, but then it sort of soon died down again.
Yeah. Big up James, big up Static, both in the chat as well. We'll go through the players then, starting with Ederson in goal. Was on the pitch for 90 minutes, of course. 3 saves, 1 punch, 1 high claim, one save from inside the box, 39 touches, 93% accurate passes, 2 out of 3 long balls were accurate, 1 clearance, and yeah. How do you think Ederson played?
Yeah, he did what he's paid for, mate. He had one crucial save to make, didn't he, at one stage, and he made it, and that's all you can ask when you get a quiet game like that. I'll say he wasn't really involved in a distribution way or saving, and I think there's a couple of shots that, you know, he's very good at holding when he goes down to his left. He's very good at holding onto the ball. I think a lot of keepers would tend to palm stuff out, but I like the way Ederson always sort of collects it, or would normally collect it. It's very rare he sort of just gets, you know, when it's behind the ball, you can almost rely on it sticking. Now I've said that, I better touch wood just in case, but you can always rely on the ball sticking when Ederson's got it. And yeah, that save he did at midway, I think it was midway through the second half or somewhere, anyway, about a third of the way through the second half was pretty crucial at the end of the day. But that's what he's paid for, to make those saves. Yeah, good game.
Yeah, and he was unlucky for the goal as well. It just
yeah, I mean, you can't blame him for the goal. I mean, obviously, we'll talk about Laporte after, but obviously he couldn't do anything with the shot. And then when it's going to bounce straight back to the guy who shot it, and it literally didn't have time to react. It was just very quickly, it went back to the guy and he hit it. And I think he got both hands to it, from what I remember. But you can't really blame Ederson for the goal.
Yeah, definitely not. Big up Maisie in the chat as well. Onto the back 4, starting with right back Kyle Walker. Let me just get his stats up. Here we go. 1 assist, 1 out of 2 aerial duels were won. 5 times he lost the possession, 110 touches, 96% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 7 out of 10 long balls were accurate. How do you think Kyle Walker played, Bernard?
Yeah, I think he played all right with Sterling. I think he got a bit frustrated with Sterling a couple of times. I remember him overlapping and Sterling just ignored him, which probably, on the basis of what Kyle Walker does with the ball sometimes, is probably a good judgment. But I think Sterling should have made a bit more use of him a couple of times, and you could see his frustration. But yeah, absolutely nothing. Defensively, he wasn't called upon that much. I thought we might need his pace if Watford broke away. But no, we sort of broke things up in midfield, so we didn't really need him defensively. And I think he was hoping he could have done a little bit better. He had 1 assist, so you can't complain about that. I thought he had a solid enough game.
Yeah. Into the centre backs then, starting with Ruben Diaz. 90 minutes played, 2 clearances, 4 interceptions, None out of 3 ground duels were won. 2 out of 4 aerial duels were won. 7 times he lost a possession. 3 fouls, 1 offside. 122 touches, 95% accurate passes. 1 key pass. 9 out of 10 long balls were accurate. Thoughts on Ruben Diaz's performance?
Yeah, again, just steady. I mean, he had a chance to score, didn't he? I thought he might have done a little bit better with that, but obviously it's not. We don't expect him to score many goals, and he certainly didn't with that one, did he? But yeah, a good solid. I mean, I think now that he said he lost possession a few times there and stuff, but again, he didn't get the feeling that he lost it anywhere where it was dangerous. So I don't mind if they lose it a bit further up the field, which is where he was playing anyway. He sort of does okay. So again, nothing spectacular from Diaz, just another good solid effort.
Yeah. Yeah. And then his centre-back partner, Emerick Laporte, let me just get his stats up. Here it is. 1 clearance, 1 block shot, 6 interceptions, 1 tackle, 3 out of 3 ground duels were won, 3 out of 9 aerial duels were won. 8 times he lost a possession, was fouled once, 118 touches, 92% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 3 out of 7 long balls were accurate, 2 shots on target, 2 shots off target, and 1 out of 1 dribble attempts was successful. Thoughts on Laporte's performance?
Yeah, most people sort of. I know he got problems on social media, didn't I? Don't know what that was all about. Whether it's actually City fans or people pretending to be City fans, I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. But some people blamed him for that goal. I mean, he just had to. You have to put your arms behind your back. Perhaps he could have done a little bit better with it. But I mean, it's that stupid rule now. I mean, it's not natural for a player to have to put to do that. It's not a natural thing, but it stops you doing what you'd normally do to block a shot by having to put your arms behind your back. But I wouldn't blame him for the goal. On those stats, I mean, I have read, and some people thought he was far better than Diaz, and I'm not going to question that based on that stats. I thought he probably was the better of the two, to be honest with you, distribution wise. But he was whether he was great, I don't know. I thought it was okay. Perhaps, as I said, some doubt about the goal, but I can't say with the restrictions defenders get now with having to put their arms behind, I think they should just change the rules so they can just act normally, to be honest with you. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. But I think of the two, perhaps he was slightly better than Diaz on the day.
Yeah, definitely. And then the final defender at left back, João Cancelo. 90 minutes played, 2 clearances, 2 interceptions, 3 tackles, was dribbled past twice, 4 out of 6 ground duels were won, 1 out of 2 aerial duels were won. 21 times he lost a possession, was fouled once, 106 touches, 79% accurate passes, 4 out of 8 long balls were accurate, 1 shot on target and 1 shot off target. Thoughts on Cancelo's performance?
I think we've seen it with Cancelo, haven't we? The fact that Pep's going to rest him for this Champions League, which I thought he was going to do anyway. He needs a rest, basically. It wasn't his greatest game. The other guys, obviously, in midfield did a little bit more than Cancelo. I just think I think he's a game perhaps not too far because he played okay, but his distribution wasn't that great. His pass completion rate wasn't fantastic. So, yeah, I saw another one of his silly outside of the foot things that didn't quite come off, and I get a bit annoyed, to be honest with you. I know it did work, and it does work, but I mean, it's like Rodri's Rockets. All right, you can score a goal every now and then, but then you get a bit bored of him trying the same thing all the time. It doesn't come off. So, yeah, I think Cancelo needs a rest. He didn't play that badly. He was okay, don't get me wrong, but I think this sort of proved that, just give him a rest now, and he'll be a much better player for having a rest in this Champions League, and hopefully back then for the league game against Wolves next week.
Yeah. Just before we go through the midfielders and the attackers, team news for the Leipzig game will be out in just under 15 minutes' time, so you'll get our immediate thoughts on that as well. Into the midfield.
I'd be interested to see. I've sort of stuck my neck out and put Stefan in goal, so I mean, I'll be interested to see if he does go in goal. To be honest with you, let's see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that happening, to be fair, because of course we're out the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, he's not getting any games, as you said. He's certainly a better keeper than he was, so there's certainly no big detriment of sticking him in for this one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and the FA Cup coming up soon. We'll ask you near the end. The draw was last night. was quite a good draw for us. A bit of a trek, but you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, well, there won't be many tickets, so no. I'm hoping it'll be on, on BBC on telly, normal telly for a change. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Rather than United, who are on every year. So hopefully it will be, and a good one for. It's funny actually. I was just looking at putting some programs away, and I just had a Swindon program I was putting away before, and I was filing some stuff, so I had a quick flick through it. But yeah, and good game, good for Swindon, fantastic, and that's what you want. You want these teams to be at home against. It would have been no good at our place. It's far better at theirs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and a new ground for most of the younger fans as well.
Well, yeah, because there's a selection now. I mean, obviously they do allow give a proportion of tickets to younger fans, don't they? Where you don't need the points, which obviously affects. I get nowhere near anyway, but yeah. So as long as they make a noise like they did against Watford, we'll talk about the fans, but they were absolutely superb, weren't they? Let's be honest about it.
Yeah, definitely. We will talk about the fans a bit later in the stream. On into the midfield then. First up, it is Rodri in the middle. 105 touches, 93% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 5 out of 7 long balls were accurate, none out of 1 dribble attempts were successful, 5 out of 10 ground duels were won, 1 out of 1 aerial duels were won, 10 times he lost the possession, 2 fouls, 5 tackles, and he was dribbled past twice. Thoughts on Rodri's performance?
Yeah, he's another guy who's getting a rest tonight, isn't he? Definitely getting a rest anyway. Pep has already said that, so thoroughly deserved. Again, he wasn't perfect by any means. He got dribbled past a couple of times, but what I like was the fact I don't like it when he gets caught the wrong side of players and has to give silly fouls away. And he wasn't too bad against Watford. He was sort of usually in the right place, even though he may have got dribbled past. He was sort of goal side, which is what you want to see. You don't want to see him being clumsy and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought it was just another good Rodri display.
Yeah. In the other 2 midfielders, the first one is Ilkay Gundogan, Mr. Whippy, the Gundalorian, went off after 67 minutes, 71 touches, 91% accurate passes, 3 key passes, 1 out of 4 crosses were accurate, 3 out of 5 long balls were accurate, 1 big chance created, 1 shot on target, 1 shot off target, 1 shot blocked. 2 out of 4 dribble attempts were successful. 1 big chance missed. 3 out of 6 ground duels were won. 1 out of 1 aerial duels were won. 11 times he lost the possession, and 1 foul, 1 tackle. Thoughts on Gundogan's performance?
Yeah, I think he's getting back to something like we like to see. When KDB's not around, we know we expect him to step up a little bit more. I think his general his distribution's okay, but his crossing's pretty poor. He needs to improve that just a touch. But no, I think obviously he was overshadowed by another guy in midfield. But yeah, it's a bit like the old Gundogan at the moment. So I think we're getting him back. Let's hope he keeps fit for the next few games.
Yeah, definitely. Next up for me, the best player in the Premier League at the moment, Bernardo Silva. 90 minutes played, 2 goals, 80 touches, 93% accurate passes, 4 key passes, none out of 1 crosses were accurate, 3 out of 5 long balls were accurate, 1 big chance created, 2 shots on target, 1 shot blocked, 2 out of 3 dribble attempts were successful, 5 out of 7 ground duels were won, 10 times he lost the possession, and 1 foul and 3 tackles. Thoughts on Gundogan? Thoughts on Bernardo Silva? Sorry.
Yeah, another one rested quite rightly as well. I mean, I don't think they actually took. I think Rodri, Cancelo, and Bernardo have stayed in the UK, haven't they? I don't think they've actually flown over from what I know. So yeah, that'd be a good rest for him. But what can you say, mate? I mean, absolutely. You know me. I mean, I was a bit disappointed. I was hoping he might get an hat-trick, but obviously once KDB came on in the second half, he sort of dropped back a little bit. Well, I don't like to see him further back. You know me. I like him in the opponent's box, whatever's happening. But what can you say? I mean, I think most fans of other clubs are latching onto this guy now, and I think we said the other day he's got the 150 million quid in anyone's money now, and he's brilliant, absolutely stunning. And I think Pep said he was what was the word he said? Not about his football, but as a character, is a bit complicated, or a word to that effect, which is a bit of a worry going forward. But we know there's problems. We know there is some personal problems behind the scenes. But obviously, let's hope that doesn't. It's certainly not detracting from what he's doing on the pitch at the moment. Absolutely superb.
Yeah. Into the attackers then, starting from the right, it was Raheem Sterling who was out there on the right-hand side. Scored a goal, 3 shots on target, 1 shot off target, 2 shots blocked. 2 out of 7 dribble attempts were successful. 84 touches, 89% accurate passes. 3 key passes, none out of 3 crosses were accurate. 1 out of 1 long balls were accurate. 4 out of 10 ground duels were won. 1 out of 1 aerial duels were won. 17 times he lost the possession. 1 foul, was fouled twice, and 1 interception. Thoughts on Sterling's performance?
Yeah, when I watch at home, I make little ticks and crosses on a bit of paper. So I've got it here, and Sterling was literally a goal, which is good, a tick, and then 2 crosses, and I think that sort of sums up, because I thought he was absolutely back to near his best for that first 30 minutes or so. And then the last 15 and the second half, as long as he was on there, it was, I just thought he was back to his hesitant self again. You know, he didn't quite know where. There was one stage early in that second half where it was a 3-on-2 thing where we broke away, and Grealish was on the left 3, and you know, you'd imagine Bernardo, and you think of that ball Jesus played the other week to Bernardo score at that other place across the road, and you think of that, and you look at. He sort of Sterling just hesitated, and he should have just played it first time. He should have just bent it around the defender into the path of Grealish, and he was constantly doing that again after. But I say that first 30 minutes, I thought, the old Sterling's back, and then he sort of undid everything he did good in the rest of the game. He scored a goal, so it's, you know, he'll get points for that, but obviously in ratings. But it's a bit disappointing. He lost all his confidence again, and yet he seemed to have that headed goal. I mean, he picked his spot, didn't he? It was a superb ball in, but you could see him thinking when it was coming over, right, I'm just going to put it here, and that's what he did. But 30 minutes, excellent, and then the other 60, not so much, unfortunately.
Yeah. Into the man who was in the false 9 position. Next up, Jack Grealish was in the false 9 position. We're just going to get his stats up here. So 68 minutes played, 3 shots on target, 1 shot off target, 1 shot blocked. 1 out of 1 dribble attempts were successful. Hit the woodwork once. 2 big chances missed. 49 touches. 92% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 2 out of 2 long balls were accurate, 5 out of 6 ground duels were won, 1 out of 1 aerial duels were won. 5 times he lost the possession. He was fouled 4 times as well. Thoughts on Grealish's performance?
Yeah, again, based on this, I had a couple of crosses and a tick, which is basically a couple of crosses where he just shot and headed at the goalkeeper a couple of times, didn't he, when he was up the middle? And I know Pep wants to play him up the middle, which says a lot about whether we're going to have a striker in January. For me, I think Pep's quite happy with what he's got. I don't think we're going to commit to a striker in January, certainly not in January. And I think he's going to play Grealish more up the middle. And he did some great stuff, but again, his finishing was poor. I've never rated him as a big finisher. You know, he's just to me, he's a winger and midfielder who can score goals. He's not a striker as such, so it didn't surprise me. It's just a shame that he couldn't have done a little bit better. You know, it would have done him good. But generally, his play was fine. As I say, he held it up. When he does get it, we seem to slow down just a little bit. We seem to sort of break at pace, and then Grealish gets it, and it's a bit like Mahrez. Because he says he jinks and holds things up, it seems to ruin the flow of the game, the flow of the attack, if you like. But I think that's where Pep's going to want to play him more, just generally up that. I think he's already said it. I think he's hinted at it or said it to someone that he wants to play him in that false 9 position more anyway. So we're going to have to get used to it. And say it's a shame he just couldn't have put one of those chances away, unfortunately.
Yeah. Next up, the final starter before we're most likely going to go through the team news for the Leipzig game was Phil Foden. 75 minutes played, 1 assist, 1 shot on target, 1 shot off target, None out of 1 dribble attempts were successful. Hit the woodwork once. 1 big chance missed. 62 touches. 100% accurate passes. 4 key passes. 3 out of 10 accurate crosses. 3 big chances created. 3 out of 4 ground duels were won. None out of 1 aerial duels were won. 11 times he lost a possession. Was fouled once. 1 clearance and 2 tackles. Thoughts on Foden's performance?
Yeah, the main reason probably Grealish was playing up the middle because obviously he was quite accomplished on that left. He wasn't anything spectacular from Foden. I think he's still trying to play his way back into it. But I think there's as he had 3 big chances created there. He is what he is, Foden. Even if he doesn't have a great game, he still contributes. And obviously from that heat map you did there, that's obviously why we had Mr. Grealish playing up the middle. But I would rather that than Foden playing up the middle, where I don't think he's very effective anyway. So that'll do for me. Another good game where he was in and out of it. He wasn't always there. You didn't always notice him, but he sort of popped up and created some good chances.
Yeah. Just before we go through the substitutes, 3-1 the final score was. Do you think the starters did well enough, and did the 3 subs, De Bruyne, Mahrez and Jesus, do enough when they came onto the pitch, do you think?
Well, I think it's unusual. We had to give KDB minutes, didn't we? But I think that obviously they brought KDB and one of the guys on straight. Was it KDB and Jesus he brought on together? Yeah. They sort of disrupted the flow a little bit, and I think that's actually when they scored, wasn't it? I think quite shortly after that. So they did disrupt the flow, and normally Pep wouldn't do that in a game. He's happy with his 11. He would have played them all, but obviously he wants to get minutes in the legs of people like KDB. So that's why he did it. And if you can't do it at that stage, if you can't do it when you're comfortable in a game, when can you do it? So, but it did disrupt the flow for me. As I said, I think Bernardo dropped back a little bit. He was less effective. And I don't think KDB did much, to be honest. I don't remember him doing that much when he came on. And all Jesus achieved was getting fouled by that big lug Cathcart, wasn't it? I mean, it wasn't obviously a sending off offence as such, but I mean, these things should be looked at retrospectively. It was just dirty. It was just clear dirtiness to try and trip. Basically trying to trip him up, wasn't he? And those things at pace, a player can get seriously hurt. And I do admit when Jesus goes down, I don't worry too much because he's a bit of a play actor at the best of times, but obviously it must have had some effect because he's obviously missing now, isn't he? So it did have some effect on him. So perhaps it was worse than I thought, but I think I don't think Pep would normally play subs. I think it was just the circumstances, and it did sort of stop the flow a little bit and sort of let Watford back in. But obviously, they never looked as though they'd get a second goal or anything like that.
Yeah. So here it is. Here is the team to play against RB Leipzig away. It is Stefan in goal. You got that right, Bernard. Walker, Stones, Ake and Zinchenko as a back 4, with Fernandinho, Gundogan and De Bruyne in midfield, with Mahrez, Foden and Grealish as the front 3. On the bench, it is Edison, Carson, Diaz, Sterling, Egan Riley, Palmer, McAtee, Lavia and Wilson as Brand. That's a very strong team, isn't it, Bernard, for enough?
Well, yeah, I'm a bit disappointed for Palmer because I thought Palmer would be, and I think I've got 9 or 10 of that in my team, to be honest with you. But I thought Palmer would be playing, to be honest with you. But that is a strong team. I mean, obviously Pep's happy with the team, the guys that he's playing there, that they need the minutes on the pitch. He won't be playing any if they were tired. As I say, he left 3 at home because they were tired. So. I mean, he wants to win this. I mean, I think it's fair play to him. I mean, obviously, it's only fair to the other teams in situations like this. I mean, I think Leipzig want to get through to the Europa League. I think they're interested in that. I know they just sacked the manager, but they certainly want to do it, and they'll have to earn it, mate, won't they, against that team? Because that's not a bad little team. In an empty stadium, though. Will it have a friendly sort of feel anyway? I'm not too sure. It's going to be hard to get the City players up for this one, I think. They've been used to having the crowds back, but I think it'll be an interesting game because Leipzig like to press, don't they? They play a pressing game. I was looking back, and obviously they had Ralph Rangnick many years ago, and then they've had Hassan Huttel, and they've had Nagelsmann, haven't they? So they do like to play that pressing game. So. Yeah, it should be a good game. I mean, we're certainly not. Pep's not. He's certainly going for it. It'll be interesting to see how with that team, we should win it. I thought we might draw it at least, but I think with that team, if we don't win, I think we'll be a little bit disappointed. But I'm a bit sad for Palmer. I thought, is he on the bench? Did you say he was on the bench? Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit sad that Palmer didn't get a goal. To be honest with you, just one guy. When you think he put him in against Everton in that game, which was a bit of a surprise a couple of weeks ago. I thought he might give him the experience tonight. Perhaps he's hoping we can get 2 or 3 goals ahead and bring him on later on. But a bit surprised by that, I must admit.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a lot.
Good to see Stefan though. What do you think? At least Stefan's in there.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's one of his little chances now. With us being out of the Carabao Cup, of course, we've got the FA Cup coming up. He'll play in those games most likely as well. So yeah, I think Stefan did deserve to play this game, to be honest, and it doesn't badly affect Edison just being on the bench for one game, really.
No, I mean, do bad for the rest, mate. I mean, if you play it all the time as he does. I mean, he plays all. I think he's one league game he's missed so far because of injury. I think, COVID or whatever it was. But yeah, I mean, it's good for him. It's nice to chill. It's sometimes nice to just, if you're one of the main guys, just to sit on the bench and enjoy the match from a spectator point of view. The worst thing that can happen is say the other goalie gets injured. That's one of the worst things. It's if somebody, God forbid, touch wood, something happened to Stefan. But I mean, why not bring Carson on in that situation? Then again, we've had games where we've needed 3 keepers, haven't we, in the Champions League? So you never know, do you? With we've got Mr. Walker. That was an interesting one as well, Kyle Walker, because I thought, well, obviously we are limited with Cancelo not about, and I thought that the young lad might come in, Esbrand, whatever he's called. But it's nice to see he's obviously stuck with Walker. But I think Walker might need a bit of a rest at some stage as well.
Yeah. I can't have the Leipzig team at the moment, so if I do find that, we'll go through that. But next up, the first sub was KDB. Kevin De Bruyne was on the pitch for 23 minutes, 24 touches, 89% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 1 out of 2 crosses were accurate, none out of 1 long balls were accurate, 1 shot off target, none out of 1 dribble attempts were successful. 1 out of 2 ground duels were won. 4 times he lost the possession and he was fouled once. Thoughts on De Bruyne when he came on?
Yeah, it's just getting minutes into it, mate. I think I remember the shot. It was a bit pathetic from what I remember. I think, what the hell's that, Kevin? But it's just to get minutes in his legs. So I mean, that's all he had to do, really, and that's mission accomplished. He got minutes in his legs. That's about all you can say, really.
Yeah. Next up then is Gabriel Jesus, Riyad Mahrez, sorry. Next up, 22 minutes played, so he was the one who came on for De Bruyne, not Jesus.
Not Jesus, yeah.
25 touches, 90% accurate passes, 1 key pass, none out of 1 crosses were accurate. None out of 1 ground duels were won. 5 times he lost the possession as well. Thoughts on Mahrez's performance?
Yeah, I don't know what the stats are like on Mahrez coming on as a substitute, but I just get the impression we used to have super subs in the past, didn't we? But I just get the impression he never does. I might be totally wrong, but I just get the impression he never really adds that much when he comes on as a substitute. So again, it's a strange one actually. I just thought it was a strange substitution. Perhaps again it's to get minutes into his legs, but he's always on the periphery, isn't he? It's just obviously not been good enough to get picked for a few games, but. Yeah, interesting one, but he's not an impact. I don't think he's an impact. I might be wrong. You might say, he scored loads of goals or assists coming off the bench, but he just never does it for me. So I don't get all giddy when he comes on as a substitute. Certainly not in games against Watford, to be honest with you. Again, it's just a matter of getting 22 minutes in his legs, I suppose.
Yeah. The third and final sub then was Gabriel Jesus. Didn't travel to Germany due to a knock he got in this game. He was on the pitch for 15 minutes. None out of 1 dribble attempts were successful. 18 touches, 92% accurate passes. 1 key pass. 1 out of 2 ground duels were won. 1 out of 1 aerial duels were won. 5 times he lost the possession and he was fouled once. How do you think Jesus played when he was on the pitch?
Yeah, he is a guy I think can make a big difference when he comes on as sub, but obviously he didn't have long to do this, but it's such a shame. I mean, as I say, it's such a shame he got on and got a bit of a kick, which was needs to be sorted out. I mean, as I say, it certainly wasn't. Obviously, players get sent off for these high tackles, don't they? I think they should be sort of sent off. I mean, people say to us, oh, well, you get Fernandinho doing that sort of thing, but not sort of like that. It just seemed a bit iffy from Cathcart, so... But I thought, Jesus is Jesus, and he'll put it in whether he's on the pitch 10 minutes or 90 minutes. He'll run round like a causing bother, and I think he had a key pass there. And I think that's the thing about City. Even these guys, I think Kevin even had a key pass, didn't he? They're always capable of producing something, even if they only come on for a few minutes. So, yeah, I'm always that. It never bothers me if Jesus is playing or Jesus comes on as a sub. I know he'll give 100%.
Yeah, definitely. Next person we're going to talk about is Pep Guardiola. Do you think he got it right on Saturday?
Yeah, as I say, it's just the substitutions were a bit weird, but as I said, it was just a means to an end, I think, just to give certainly KDB minutes. I wasn't too sure about Mahrez because we know Pep doesn't like to make subs unless he has to. Usually means we're doing okay, or it usually means we're in trouble. But when we're in trouble, he only usually does it for the last 10 minutes. He picked a team good enough to beat Watford, and we should have really had the game to put to bed within 15 minutes. It should have been 2 or 3-0 within 15 minutes, to be honest with you. So it should have been a nice, easy go from there, but obviously it all worked out in the end. Yeah, so he has faith in Sterling, doesn't he? And it's certainly for 30 minutes it paid off. He looked a bit like the old Sterling. So we've got to trust in Pep, and he put a team out good enough to beat Watford.
Yeah, we've got the RB Leipzig team here then. So it's quite strong, really. Galassi is in goal. Back four of Mukiele, Klosterman, Gvardiol, and a familiar face in Angelino at left back. In the midfield is Campbell with Lima, and then 4 attackers, and Nkunku, who scored a hat-trick against us in the previous game, Szoboszlai, Emil Forsberg, and Andre Silva. What do you think of that team then, Bernard?
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, obviously, don't expect a 6-3 like it was at the Etihad, obviously back in September, but they're a pretty good team. I know they're struggling. I think that obviously I've not looked at the table after the weekend, but they were 8th in the Bundesliga, and I say they've now got, whether the fact they've got rid of the manager will be good for him or bad for him, I have no idea. But interesting to see if Angelino stays on the pitch this time. He doesn't do anything stupid, but yeah, I like Nkunku. I mean, obviously he got the hat-trick, didn't he? Saying Silva's highly rated, so it should be a good game. It's a game we can relax as well as City fans. I mean, it's nice to just watch a game and know it's not a total disaster. Things don't work out, but I'm hoping for a good game. But as I said, the empty stadium might affect it. But yeah, it's a pretty standard. I say I don't ever predict the foreign teams when I do my starting 11s because I don't really know enough about them. I just come up with loads of names and say that's the team. So, but yeah, the key players from what I remember at the Etihad are in it anyway. So I'm expecting a good game.
Yeah. Big up Josh, big up Niall, both in the chat as well. Next we're gonna talk about Watford. How do you think they played?
Yeah, it's interesting. As I said, they beat a couple of teams, but they beat a couple of teams who weren't really in form at the moment. Obviously, United and Everton are the two teams they have beaten over the last few games since the change in manager. Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, looking at teams like Everton won last night, but they could easily get dragged back into that bottom three if Newcastle keep go on a run, stuff like that. So, but I think they've got some okay players again, similar to who was it we played before Watford. Yeah, I mean, obviously West Ham are up the other end, but I mean, there's not a lot, is there? Once you get past us, you get Chelsea, Liverpool, and City. All the others can beat each other, I think. And Watford is the same. I think they've got some good players, some good players on the break. They can hit teams, but he's got to do a little bit better. But I think he's still finding his feet, isn't he? To be honest with you, he's only just he's only been there a month for 5 weeks or something like that. So, but yeah, they could get dragged into it based on what I saw. But I mean, you can't really gauge a team from playing against City. Obviously, it's a free hit from say they narrowly lost to Chelsea. They played very, very well against Chelsea. So, certainly no reason why going forward they won't be okay, to be honest with you. But you say Watford, you always think they're going to get dragged into it, and they're not exactly a boing club, are they? They seem to sort of come up and down, but they need to get established. Teams like Watford, they need to stay in there, stick in there, and they've done the thing. They've got rid of the manager, they've changed managers, so let's see what happens. But they could get dragged back into it.
Yeah. No, we don't normally talk about the fans when neither of us went to the game, but the fans next up. Just watching on the telly, I didn't hear Watford sing once, to be honest with you, apart from when they scored. So the City fans outsung the Watford fans.
I think most cases these days, mate. I mean, there's not many away grounds that you don't always hear the City fans singing. I mean, all credit to when I do watch the odd United game, and they obviously they tend to try and sing a lot during the game. All credit to them, but I don't think there's many away fans, and certainly United when they're away, similar to City, you sort of hear them most of the time. I mean, you can't. You obviously have moments where you don't, but as I say, it was hard not to hear the City fans the other day, and we get a lot of bad press, City fans, but and then you obviously got when you get a new song as well, which is a new song, old tune, of course, a tune we've used before, but obviously different words. It's you bang it out for a while, don't you? Because it's a new song and you enjoy doing that. It's a shame actually. I think we don't come up with songs for like Walker and stuff like, Kyle Walker's with us ages, but we haven't really got a song for Kyle Walker and stuff like that. So, obviously, Ruben Diaz, of course, deserves a new song. Of course he does for what he's doing to us. But it's a shame when players like Kyle Walker, no one comes up with a decent song. And I've seen a song for Cancelo, but it's a bit wordy, so I don't think that'll catch on social media. So, but no, the fans are great, and there's a lot of younger lads going there now, and all right, I'm old now. When I do go to these away games, I just get a bit rowdy. It gets a bit rowdy for me. But as far as in the stadium concerned, singing, great. I love that bit. Anyway, it's just in the back bit after at half time or before the game. It's too much for me. I'm getting too old for all that. But I bang out the songs with everybody else while I'm in the ground. But I think we don't get enough. I don't think the fans get enough respect, to be honest with you. And I've seen a couple of nice comments on social media from non-City fans as well. So that's nice to see.
Yeah. Next, we're going to talk about the referee, Kevin Friend, on Saturday. How do you think he did?
Well, it wasn't him, was it, mate? Didn't they swap it? They swapped him.
Yeah,
he wasn't the referee. It was another guy, and I can't remember his name now. Bald guy, because Kevin Friend's got plenty of hair, hasn't he, I think? Yeah. So there's a problem with Kevin Friend. So I don't know who the referee was, but people did comment that he played very, very well. Yeah, and I can't disagree. I thought he had quite a good game, to be honest with you. Yeah, because when it started, because after the match I was doing my little report, and I thought, it wasn't Kevin Friend. So I just left it out. I didn't even bother with it because I knew it wasn't Kevin Friend. But someone did say who it was, and I can't remember now. But he's not one of the big names, obviously. And I thought, whoever he was, I'm sure it'll be out there somewhere. What he did very, very well. To be honest, unless Kevin Friend's changed, but I'm fairly sure it wasn't.
I don't think it was.
I'm fairly sure it wasn't Kevin Friend. I mean, he's certainly no friend of ours, is he? But he's got a bit more hair than. It wasn't me anyway. It wasn't me. It wasn't me on the pitch. But whoever he is, he's welcome to referee other City games based on what we saw. Anyway, he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find who he is. We'll go to the next part while I try and find it. Next up, I'm going to ask you, Bernard, who was your man of the match? I think it's pretty obvious, but
I was doing I do little things on me, like I've been looking at the league games, and as I said, Bernardo. Obviously, we're going to go on to Bernardo. I put little stars of my man of the match, and obviously in all the league games, he's now done it one man of the match 7 times in the league matches. Don't include that's just a league thing. So, but it could have been 9 or 10. I've just deliberately not picked him in other games. So he can't really be anyone else, can it, mate? I don't think anyone came near to him. No, I don't think anyone came anywhere near to the performance he put in. Not perfect, never perfect, but I mean, if you're a midfielder, I love the way he goes in circles. I love the way he gets out of trouble, and it'll just he dizzy. He makes defenders dizzy, or midfielders, whoever it is, he just gets them dizzy because they just go. If he can't get through, he'll just go in a circle and work it round. And those 2 goals, as I say, his arm, he's going to be. At the moment, you'd imagine he's going to be our top scorer this season if he carries on and Pep plays him further up. You know me, I always bang on about the fact he should be playing further up anyway, even at the start of the season when he was seen to be dropping back to the edge of the 18-yard box a lot. I wanted to see him more upfield. And he's, the way it's going, is surely. I think he scored the same now that he did all last season in goals. I think he's equalled his tally for last season already. Not even at Christmas yet. So brilliant. I mean, you run out of words, don't you, for him? He's just superb, fantastic.
Yeah. Next up, we're gonna look at the Premier League table. It was a big one because with that win, we went top of the league. We're now in first. Chelsea, of course, lost to West Ham, which means they dropped to third. Liverpool move up to second place after their late winner against Wolves. Watford remain in 17, 3 points clear of the drop. Do you think Watford will have enough to stay up this season?
Well, the thing is, I mean, you always think Burnley and Newcastle will get out of it, so they go on a bit of a run. Watford are going to be struggling because I like Southampton. Surely Leeds are going to improve at some stage, and teams like Palace, they're not going to get dragged into it. I mean, Brentford's an interesting one because he started on fire, didn't he? But they could easily get dragged back. But I mean, the trouble is that Watford need at least 3 teams below them, and obviously, even Norwich have had a bit of they had a bit of a renaissance, but it's gone off again now, hasn't it? They've drawn a couple and lost one, but. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I think Watford are in the mix to get relegation because obviously you're getting up to the Evertons in 12th. You can't see any of them guys, even Everton, getting dragged into it. So the only chance for Watford, if perhaps Brentford, I can't see Palace, can't see Leeds, I can't see Southampton. I think Southampton are okay. So that they're going to struggle if Burnley and Newcastle go on any sort of run.
Yeah, James, a bit an Everton fan, he says, "Thank God we've climbed up a few places, but still a long way to go in the season."
It's obviously he's not a very popular guy, Mr. Benitez, is he? But it's funny, isn't it? I mean, even with that win last night, the fans aren't going to warm to him. Of course they're not. But it'd be interesting because there's obviously a lot of bad blood there at the moment, isn't there, with the fans and Ken Wright and all this sort of thing. So, yeah, you don't want that. You don't want an unhappy stadium. I mean, you think how it affected West Ham, a couple of years ago when it was all kicking off there. You don't really, before COVID, wasn't it, where West Ham fans were getting at the owners and stuff like that. And you don't really need that. And obviously that's the only thing with Everton. But it was a good win the other night. I say Arsenal are no great shakes, but to come from behind, it was... I think, as I say, I don't think Everton will be in any problem. Perhaps a couple of games ago, you think, they might get dragged back into this, but I'm sure they've got enough.
Yeah, I can confirm Kevin Friend got COVID, so it was Simon Hooper who came in as the ref, I believe. Rob Jones then became the 4th official. That was from Simon Badgecow. I can't say his surname, but Simon Badgecow. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Mr. Hooper. Yeah, I was quite impressed. I don't know if he referees many games. I'm not too sure. I mean, he's a name I've heard of, but I can't remember particularly. But I thought he did an okay job. And even that foul late on by Cathcart, I don't suppose any ref would have sent him off for that. To be honest with you, it's just obviously a bit nasty after the event, and in slow motion, it looks worse than it actually was.
Yeah. The final thing we're going to talk about is, we mentioned it before, but we got Swindon away in the FA Cup 3rd round. It's a good draw for us, really, isn't it, Bernard?
Yeah, I mean, these teams like Swindon, they want, obviously, it's great for them, isn't it, to welcome. I think the Twitter account said we welcome the Premier League leaders to what's it, which is true. I mean, it would have been better saying the current champions. That sounds better to me, but hey, that's up to their PR guy, whatever wording they use. But that'll be great to say for people like Mike Summerby as well, who obviously has connections. And I've seen, obviously, I was there that obviously when Summerby was playing for Swindon against City in the 60s before he came to City in the sort of lowest crowd ever at that stage for a competitive game and things like that. So it's nice for buzzer that sort of thing. I think did his son play for? Yeah, Nicky Summerby played for Swindon as well, didn't he? At some stage before he came to us and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a team we've played before. It'll be great. I'll do my little history thing. I'll dig up a game back in time against them at their place. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and it's great. It's great for teams like Swindon. You know, the fans as well. It'll no doubt be a sellout. It'd be nice, as I said. It'd be nice for it to be on BBC instead of the boring United games you always seem to stick on. I mean, United against Villa. I suppose it's United and Villa, isn't it? Yeah. I suppose it's all Premier League class, but you don't want to see that in the FA Cup, do you? You want to see these big. Is small against big. All right, it could end up a thrashing, but hey, well, you know, it's that's how it is. That's what giant killing is, and I'm sure knowing what Pep's picked for this Champions League game, I'm sure I don't think he'll be playing the kids in that one either. I think he'll have a strong team out against poor old Swindon. So that'll be very, very interesting to see.
Yeah. So yeah, we're just under an hour away until kickoff at the Red Bull Arena in Leipzig. The final question I'm going to ask: what's your score prediction for that game?
Yeah. Well, I was sort of edging my bets and going for a draw, but now I've seen this team, I'll be a bit disappointed if City don't win it. I'm banking on a few goals, to be honest with you, because I think they'll have a go, and I'm sure it'll free up us to have a go as well. So yeah, I mean, let's go 3-2 for City or something like that, just to make it interesting. But as I say, I don't think there'll be 9 goals. Now I've said that, probably I don't think there'll be 9 goals in this one. But as you say, it'll be interesting to see how they play with that crowd in the stadium, obviously as well. But I'll go 3-2 for City.
Yeah, it should be a good game.
What's your prediction? Come on, you put yourself on the line. What's your prediction?
I'll go 3-1. 3-1 City.
Safe bet. That's a safe bet. 3-1.
Yeah. We'll wrap it up there then. Just before we wrap it up, mate, where can we find you?
Yeah, if you get me on Twitter, Bernard Deneen at Charles Deneen. But if you put Charles Bernard Deneen, DINNN in any search engine, you'll find all my YouTube stuff on City and football. And I do films and TV as well. So you want to have a rest from football, just have a look at my my YouTube site, and I do lots of stuff on there as well. So as I say, just use that in your search engines, Deneen, DINNN. There's only me. There's nobody else with that silly name. So I usually come up on the searches. So that'll be great.
Yeah. Cheers for coming on again, mate.
No worries.
You can find me at MTFC Hibs on Twitter. Here, Dugout Daily on YouTube. We either have a match reaction to the game tonight, either tomorrow night or Thursday. I'll double check that. Yeah, so that's tomorrow, same time as this. So make sure you join us for that one as well. Two quick match reactions in quick succession. So yeah, that's what happens in Christmas time, I suppose. Again, every couple of days.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Cheers everyone for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Actually, later we're live for top 10 midfielders in Premier League history. That'll be at 10:15. I'm hoping I can sneak a few few former City players in there as well. I'm thinking Yaya Toure.
Well, you can in recent times, yeah. Obviously not from the very start of the Premier League, but yeah, certainly over the last 10 years, you can probably sneak a few in.
Yeah, and of course Vieira was at City for a period. So was Frank Lampard.
Yeah, that counts. Lampard's at City. That counts as well. Don't tell the Chelsea fans to get all upset when we call him a City legend, because he don't really have a sense of humour. The Londoners, I don't think. I think there's something wrong with their sense of humour chips. But hey, there you go.
Yeah. So cheers everyone for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all at 10:15. Take care and peace. See you in a bit, guys.